Hey everyone. So last week, the first patient in Quebec received approval from Health Canada to receive psilocybin mushroom therapy. Big move in the right direction for the psychedelic industry. So you have to wonder, how much are government officials believing in this industry and pushing the narrative forward, meaning action and not words? You're going to want to listen to this in our latest podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to the Dales Report podcast. I'm happy to be joined here today with Payton Nyquvest. He is the CEO of Numinus Wellness, which trades on the TSX under the ticker symbol NUMI. Good to see you. How are things?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I am excellent. Keeping busy, I assume, obviously, with some great news earlier last week.
Yeah, no, it's been busy times and obviously with the news last week, very grateful to be in the position we're in.
I want to talk. There was news last week, an announcement made early last week, where it was reported that the first patient in Quebec has received approval from Health Canada for psilocybin mushroom therapy, which is a big step in the right direction. The announcement then indicated that it will be administered by the Montreal-based Mindspace clinic, which was acquired by your company last February. So this is really interesting news, and I have to ask, what was your reaction to all this?
It's been interesting with the special access program. As a lot of people know, we were quite involved in helping get some of those regulations shifted, and then watching what's happened over the last while. And there was a lot of conversation or speculation around how many of these are going to get approved. What is Health Canada's sort of stance on the special access program? And since the actual change in early January of this year, you haven't seen a ton of approvals. We've spent the last couple of months really closely working with Health Canada to really understand what are the guidelines, what is going to get approved, what is not going to get approved, and we feel like we've got that fairly well figured out now. And more than anything, I mean, just applauding Health Canada for, in quite a short period of time, making some significant steps towards making these therapies more accessible. And, anytime we can be providing treatment for people and options for people, it's just a hugely rewarding and a grateful place to be. So,
Good.
yeah, it's really exciting.
Was it a surprise? Like, you've worked closely with them over the last few months, but when you got the news,
Mhm.
were you surprised at all?
Not, I mean, anytime you're waiting for regulators to approve something that's not really been approved before, there's certainly a period of pins and needles, I would say. But we were very clear in terms of what they wanted to see on the application, and we were very confident. So looking forward to seeing many more of these now.
Yeah, of course. Why do you think ultimately, though, Health Canada granted you the opportunity to administer the first doses of this therapy in comparison to, say, other companies?
We've built a long reputation with Health Canada, and we've been very collaborative in our approach. And really, while yes, it's newsworthy and yes, it's exciting, our focus has always been around patient access and client access, and not how do we generate the flashiest news releases possible. And I think Health Canada is looking at this from a, a a safety lens, and from a people needing care lens. They're not looking at it from a, how do we support new industry at a very early time in the space. So I think that's probably why, and I think Health Canada knows the amount of rigor and depth and breadth we take in regards to our clinical protocols, clinical operations, all the way to what we're doing out of the lab. So grateful, just very grateful that we can be doing the work we're doing.
Well, some of the research that we do on Discord and Reddit, and we speak to a lot of, like, say, institution and retail investors. When I speak about your company, and a lot of the key feedback I hear online as well is the team and the relationships and experience that you have of people that have worked in the past, even prior to your company, with Health Canada. So, I have to ask, how much of a role, and it is probably big when it comes to being granted these kinds of therapy opportunities. Is it safe to say that as people get more sophisticated within this industry and start to learn about it, you can talk about having relationships, but saying and doing obviously are two different things. But you've always been a big advocate. You live, you breathe this industry. You've acquired a lot of people that really understand the overall model. But is it safe to say a lot of the team members and the experience and relationships that they have are granting you opportunities like this?
Without question. The people that we have working with us at Numinus are really world class individuals who, the intentionality around what they're doing, and the passion they have for what they're doing, married with real, expertise in the space, is absolutely why we are where we are today. And similarly, just couldn't be more proud or grateful of the team of people that we have that work with us.
The dust is really starting to settle, don't you think, within this industry? And you're seeing a clear path as to who's going to, I think, succeed and be here long term. Do you find that?
I think it's that, and I think the thing that I've been really positive about in regards to the space is I think it's gotten refocused around um, helping people.
Right.
I think it's gotten refocused around what are the things that are going to actually provide um, sustainability and accessibility to these different therapies. And when markets are hot and everybody's trying to capture attention, that can get missed. And I think with
Yes.
this consolidation period that we've been in, it's refocused everybody around how do we ensure best client outcomes, and how do we actually address this massive addressable need that every company continues to talk about. So I think that's been really, really encouraging, and again, at a time where it's just so needed right now.
Yeah. Well, saying that, then next steps, what kind of preparations will be made then at the Mindspace Clinic as you prepare for this particular therapy?
Yeah, I mean, fortunate for us, we built all of our facilities in with this in mind, and with aiming towards a much larger, much more broad spread regulatory environment.
Yep.
So we're ready to go. We'll carry out that treatment fairly shortly. We also have, the MAPS phase 3 USX work that we're doing.
Yep.
We've begun dosing participants for that study. We have a psilocybin study as well. So, we're it's very, very cool to see, these treatments being carried out in a real world setting now.
Yeah. 6 weeks since been your acquisition with Novamind, which it really expanded your clinical footprint across the U.S. Certain clinics focus on different compounds. Say, for example, the clinics that you acquire with Novamind in comparison to the Mindspace clinic. Do a lot of these clinics that you have now like communicate with each other as far as data to have ultimately a positive outcome for the
Yeah.
patients that you're dealing with, regardless of the compound that you're researching in?
That's always been the sort of ethos around our acquisition strategy is how do we acquire, or what do we acquire in regards to complementary services, and really sort of building out the foundation of what Numinus wants to be long term. And
Okay.
we feel like with the integration and closing of the Novamind transaction, it's really probably, I don't want to say it's the last step, but in regards to having a very, very solid foundation that we can then go and scale and operationalize, we feel like we're really probably at that point now. If you look at the research activity we're doing, we're in different
Yeah.
forms of research with pretty much every compound: ketamine, MDMA, psilocybin,
Yeah.
LSD. The lab's able to work with all those, those and many more compounds as well. And we're on the ground. We're operating on the ground. We're offering traditional mental health services, ketamine-assisted psychotherapy for a range of different disorders,
Yeah.
and in a few different types of product offerings as well. We have a virtual platform where people can engage with therapists virtually. So we think we've done a really, really good job of really setting that foundational base, and now able to expand and grow the business.
It really puts things into perspective on the importance of your trial now with your model with Novamind, the acquisition, and your trials with obviously MAPS.
Hmm.
Um, Everybody's obviously vying for that, but saying and doing are two different things. But even further to that, it's the how far along that you are based off of that. And um, like you said, it can't come at a more opportunistic time when the industry needs it most, right?
Hmm. Exactly. Well, and to that point, whether you're talking about MDMA with MAPS, psilocybin, LSD, all of these things, and we've talked a lot about this,
Yeah.
the importance of a really well curated service platform is becoming even more paramount right now.
Yeah.
Because in an environment where you have these drugs approved, as we've already seen with all of the research data, you know, best outcomes come down to the rigor of the therapeutic container. And all of these different groups are going to need a therapeutic and service driven container in order to offer these services. And best quality outcomes are going to be extremely imperative very, very early. And so we've positioned ourselves to be that. And we're excited about what the future looks like.
That's great. Last question I want to ask. You and I have discussed in the past on how back on January 5th, Health Canada restored the Special Access Program, which allows healthcare experts to request access to restricted drugs that have not yet been authorized for the sale in the country. So I have to ask, since that announcement was made, have you seen an increased demand for patient interest concerning accessing these services through, like, say, your clinic, Mindspace, or elsewhere?
Mhm. Hmm. You've definitely seen a few things. You've seen an increase in interest, though I will say that's been married with a little bit of skepticism in terms of um, people wondering whether Health Canada is really going to approve, different treatments or not. That was the thing that I probably heard quite a bit about.
Interesting.
And I think these most recent approvals have shown that Health Canada is serious, and they are granting approvals. So I think you're going to only see that interest continue to increase over the next while. And I think the other thing that it's done is it's given an opportunity for people to get a really good education on
Yeah.
what psychedelic therapy actually is. And not only that, it's given prescribers and the healthcare community an opportunity to get an education as well, because ultimately they're the
Hmm.
ones who have to make those applications. So it's one thing to inform the market, but to inform healthcare practitioners so that they can be referrers and they can be making applications on behalf of their patients is really, really an integral part of this as well.
I look at this and it's just, again, we've talked about it in the past, the quality of data that produces. They can't turn their backs on this, right?
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where, the fact is even more impressive than the fiction is. And
Isn't it?
yeah, it's really incredible. So we just need to keep doing the good work.
Yep. Plucking away at a time. Congrats, obviously, on the announcement from last week,
Thank you.
and hope you're well. And we'll keep in touch.
Sounds great. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Peyton. Hey, everyone. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you giving this video a thumbs up. We also value your feedback, so leave a comment below. And if you like what we do, then share this video on your socials. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and tap on that bell to receive notifications for all future videos that we post. Thanks for watching.